Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you're anything like me and you just absolutely live for those moments where reality completely rips up the script, you are in the exact right place. We're diving into the absolute biggest anomaly of the 2026 World Cup today, a match that literally defied all logic, shattered everyone's expectations, and gave us one of the greatest underdog stories in modern sports history.
0-0. That's the scoreline from June 15th in Atlanta. We had the absolute powerhouse Spain squaring off against tournament debutants Cape Verde. Everyone, and I mean everyone, expected a routine, high-scoring blowout. Instead, we got a grinding, monumental stalemate. This scoreless draw instantly became the defining upset of the opening round. And honestly, it's a result that is going to reverberate around the football world for decades to come.
So let's really break down this mismatch, because we're talking the ultimate David versus Goliath here. The numbers are just staggering. You've got a 65-spot gap in the global rankings. Spain brought on their teenage superstar, Lamine Yamal, a single player with a reported transfer value of over $232 million. Contrast that with Cape Verde, an archipelago nation off the coast of Africa, whose entire 26-man squad has a combined estimated value of just $63 million. On paper, there was absolutely no contest.
But you know, paper doesn't play football. The data coming from Northeastern University's NetC research group tells this fascinating story of all possession, zero penetration. Spain completely dominated the passing game. 765 passes completed, 70% possession, compared to Cape Verde's mere 218. But here's the catch the researchers highlighted. Spain's passing was actually kind of desperate. They had the ball, sure, but they were forced to just keep making cross after cross because they literally couldn't find a clean way into the box.
And why couldn't they find a way in? Well, it all comes down to the number 7. That is the number of crucial saves made by one single guy. Spain unloaded 27 shots, they strung together over a dozen key passes, but this absolute human wall made 7 spectacular stops, and 6 of those were from right inside the penalty box. He completely neutralized a European powerhouse all by himself.
Part 1. The hero named Granny.
The guy behind this historic defensive wall is the 40-year-old veteran goalkeeper Josimar José Evera Diaz. He is the heart and soul of this Cape Verdean resistance. But to the rest of the world, he goes by a pretty unique and frankly hilarious nickname, Vozinha. It translates from Portuguese and Cape Verdean Creole to mean granny. Yeah, granny. As a kid playing street football with the older, bigger boys, he'd often get knocked around and run home crying to his grandparents. The older kids teased him, called him Granny, and well, the name just stuck.
Now, his path to the World Cup stage was the furthest thing from glamorous. We're talking a nomadic, 20-year career way outside the spotlight. He's played in Angola, Moldova, Cyprus, Slovakia, before finally landing at the Portuguese second division side, GD Chaves. Coming into this tournament, his estimated market value was literally just 50,000 euros. He was weeks away from his contract expiring, a true journeyman in every sense of the word.
Yet on the absolute biggest stage in football, he delivered a total masterclass. He pulled in a 9.7 SofaScore rating for that performance against Spain. To put that in perspective, that is the highest rating ever recorded for a World Cup goalkeeper aged 40 or older since 1966. Oh, and he also became the oldest goalkeeper in the history of the tournament to record a clean sheet on his World Cup debut.
But behind all those crazy stats is some seriously profound human emotion. Just listen to his post-match interview. He was in tears. He said he worked his whole life for this moment, and that so many generations dreamed of this day but couldn't achieve it. Yet today, the dream became reality. He was raised by his grandparents, the very same ones who inspired his nickname, and they passed away before they could see him reach this global stage. So this performance wasn't just a game for him. It was a powerful tribute to his family and to generations of Cape Verdeans who never thought they'd see their nation at a World Cup.
And the immediate aftermath, completely explosive. The internet just instantly fell in love with Vozinha. Driven by these massive social media campaigns, especially from Brazilian outlets, his Instagram account went from a modest 50,000 followers to practically 10 million almost overnight. The entire world just wrapped their arms around the 40-year-old grandpa who stopped Goliath.
Part 2. The Blue Sharks.
So Vozinha might be the anchor, but the entire national team goes by the nickname the Blue Sharks. What does that identity actually mean for this tiny archipelago nation? Well, the players draw direct inspiration from their namesake. Captain Ryan Mendes views the shark as a symbol of their passion. Center back Dini Borges says it represents an inner strength, and winger Giovane, he connects it to being strong, dominant, and persistent. That incredibly organized, unyielding defense we saw against Spain, that's the shark mentality right there. They don't play with nerves, they play with a fierce collective resilience.
But actually, this connection goes way beyond just a catchy mascot. Cabo Verde sits right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and its waters are a literal sanctuary for marine life, especially juvenile lemon sharks. But here's the heartbreaking part. Much like the football team facing down daunting odds, these real sharks are under severe threat right now from pollution, warming seas, and completely unsustainable illegal fishing practices.
And just like the football team fiercely defends their goal, there are locals defending the waters. Enter the Guardians of the Sea. These are local Cabo Verdean fishermen, guys like Osvaldo, Natal, and Nanan, who made a hardcore personal commitment to stop destructive fishing behaviors. They saw their environment getting destroyed and just stepped up to protect the ocean's biodiversity for their children and grandchildren.
This really brilliantly highlights a deeply shared mission in Cape Verde. Think about it. On one hand, you've got the athletes, the Blue Sharks, upholding the nation's pride and proving their toughness to billions of viewers. And on the other hand, you've got the Guardians of the Sea, everyday fishermen protecting the actual literal sharks to ensure the survival of their island home. Both groups are just fiercely elevating and protecting Cape Verde's legacy.
And this quote from Natal, one of the local fishermen, hits the nail right on the head. "I am a guardian of the sea, and sharks are the guardians of the ocean. It's a perfect mirror. Helping the sharks helps the sea, which helps the people." It so beautifully parallels how Vozinha bravely stood in front of his net, guarding his team and allowing his nation to survive and thrive on the pitch against totally impossible odds.
So what's the real takeaway from all this resilience? The tangible result? That heroic 0-0 draw secured Cape Verde an absolutely unprecedented point in Group H. Vozinha rightfully snagged Player of the Match honors, and looking ahead as they prepare to face giants like Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, the Blue Sharks' tournament dreams are still fiercely, beautifully alive. They have absolutely proven they belong.
You know, we started this explainer talking about value, a $232 million superstar versus a 50,000 euro goalkeeper. But as Cape Verde just showed the entire planet, true value isn't a price tag. When a 40-year-old grandpa can stop Goliath and local fishermen can step up to save the sea, it kind of forces us to rethink everything. What does true value really mean, both in the beautiful game and in the world around us? I'm going to leave you to think on that. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and keep questioning the script.